welcome to a brand new episode of Baffled. This is Conor Explains. My name's Dan. Mark is also here.
Hello.
This is the episode where we take just one topic, one subject, and we put our best mind on the case. The man who thinks like no other. The man who thinks so outside of the box. He's outside of the shop that you find the box in. His name is Conor. Hello, Con.
How are we?
The man who has been sat there figuring out how to put his chair down and then look like a kid in a candy store when he finally figured it out.
That's what we're playing with.
It is, yeah.
A man who can't explain the simple levers on an office chair.
It's a nice disguise lever on these chairs, though. Hard to find. Found it, though.
The man who, because this is the start of November, has started growing a moustache from
Indeed,
November, and in fairness, fair play 3 days in.
Yeah.
Can't go near any schools with that, can you?
No.
No.
Instant arrest.
So, what are you explaining today?
Fast food.
What are you explaining about? What is there to explain?
Bit of a history of fast food.
Okay. It's a bit.
When you say history, how far back are we going?
1860s.
Because as we, of course, know from this podcast, Pompeii had a lot of fast food outlets. And that is a lot further.
Why do we know that from the podcast?
Because that was a fact that I brought to the podcast. Thanks for paying attention, Connor. Oh. Your listening and respect means a lot to me every week.
If you missed that fact and you've just found us, make sure you do go scroll back in your podcast feed, listen to all the different Baffled. There are 3 facts every single week for you, and on Fridays we do one thing. The thing with this, Connor, is Conor Explains it. You're meant to be explaining big topics. We've done huge things in the past, and you're doing the history of a burger.
Yeah, it was kind of running a bit short this week, to be honest with you.
There's many concepts out in the world.
Well, you could share some, couldn't you, on the WhatsApp group?
It's almost like we did.
No, you didn't.
The job is that you're explaining something.
Yeah, but I need a bit of help. It's on. I tell you what, we're gonna have to have a meeting. I reckon. We might have to get a few listeners involved. This isn't an episode where you two doss off and I do all of it. A couple of suggestions would help.
That is absolutely what this is.
All right. Thank you.
Right. So, the history of fast food.
Okay.
Firstly, can I just ask why?
Why?
What this week made you go, I'll do the history of fast food?
Do you know what? No, genuinely, I had no idea how fast food was created. The idea of when I talk about fast food, talking about like drive-throughs as well, and just that concept. Because I went to a drive-through and I thought this is quite cool. I wonder how this was ever created. I was a bit like, there's got to be a reason to it, you know?
You know what? I've been hoping and wishing for a long time doing this show that you would add a touch of curiosity to your life. You do something and think, oh, why is this happening? And it's taken you, driving in your car to a McDonald's. Fine. Yeah. So, the history of fast food. Where do we start?
So, fast food began with the first fish and chip shop. It was Britain that actually started the concept of fast food.
Good old Britain.
When do you reckon it was?
1850 something.
Oh, good guess.
1863.
1860s, yeah, it was 1861.
Almost like you said that about 2 minutes ago, and it was just it was more of a memory test than anything else.
But yeah, drive-through restaurants were brought into the world and made popular in the 1950s, and it was the United States that made it a real thing.
Do you know?
I would have been impressed if drive-throughs were bigger pre-cars.
Yeah.
I mean that would have been an impressive feat.
On your horse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first fish and chip restaurants, do we know anything about them? So this is back in the 1860s.
No, so it was less about the restaurant side of things, but more about fish and chip shops started delivering fish and chips in fast supply in the 1860s.
Right.
So it was like fast food. So people would go in, order, take it away. It'd be quick. It'd be what a fish and chip shop is. You know, the idea of less fine dining and more go in and grab your food and out you go. It was fast food. It was something quick to grab.
So what happens I know that you've done a lot of research for post-1950. What happened in the intervening years? So between 1860 and 1950, is it just fish and chips for everyone?
Well, it was. You can even go further back from that, and it wasn't actually described as fast food, but there was lots of catering that happened. This was ancient Greece and Rome times for travellers' inns and taverns, which served food to guests back in those days. That was actually the same concept as fast food, and it was the idea of a different type of dining. It just wasn't given a name. And it was for people that were travelling through different cities and towns and things like that. But it wasn't actually known as fast food, but the concept kind of was there. The reason that this is quite interesting is because the idea of fast food, when I was doing my research, wasn't really something that a lot of people done. I mean, I'm sure when you remember like history lessons at school and things like that, eating was a big thing. There used to be, big tables, or the family would come over. It would be quite a and food almost distinguished how rich you were and how poor you were and different types of foods. So the idea of fast food, it was quite an exciting thing that happened, I think, when it arrived.
So then we come to the 50s. What happens aside from the car? What happens aside from the car, the popularity of the car, that means more people are having fast food?
Okay, so it's a fast food chain called White Castle. Ever heard of them?
I have, because I think it's the one from Harold and Kumar. Get the munchies.
Yeah, I think it is as well. I don't know that for sure, but that's where it rung the bell for me. White Castle opened in Wichita, in Cannes, in 1921.
In where?
Cannes, K-A-N?
Kansas. Great.
Kansas. Yeah, Kansas. There we go. And they...
I love that you tried that. In Cannes.
Yeah, in Cannes. And White Castle was actually credited with the invention of the hamburger bun as well, at the same time as creating the first fast food chain.
Oh, I love a burger right now.
Hamburger bun, yeah. And it's recognised today as the oldest fast food chain in America. They're still going today for a good old burger.
It's interesting that they are the earliest, but by no means the biggest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, the two owners, Billy Ingram, the name, and Walter Anderson, sold their small square burgers known as sliders for 5 cents. And the reason they were the oldest fast food chain was because they were creating small, cheap food at a very, very fast rate. Fast food.
Have you seen the film The Founder?
No.
The Founder is with... maybe Michael Keaton.
Okay.
It's where he is the guy who kind of gets McDonald's up and running. He sells them the equipment that makes McDonald's. And then I think he might take it over in a bit of skullduggery. But there's a lot about the invention of fast food in that.
Yeah, well, McDonald's obviously was one of the biggest ones that arrived, the big players that created, fast food as a thing on the map and the idea of it being a popular thing. McDonald's was one of the first companies still today, probably the biggest. Question for you, which I found quite interesting. Give me a date that you think, the Big Mac burger was created.
I feel like it's a trick question and it's later than I think.
Maybe.
I'm going to go in the 90s.
The 90s? Okay.
83.
It was 1968 that the Big Mac was created, and it was 49 cents. And that was, when it was first created, the first proper hamburger that was as a concept of fast food. But still, I don't think we can really call it a hamburger. Is it really a hamburger?
Well, I think they would be. I think that we'd get into libel territory there, because I'm fairly certain they're pretty insistent that they've got 100% beef in their patties.
Well, there we go. Yeah,
that was one of the things that worried me about the campaign that McDonald's started doing a while back, where they were like, now chicken nuggets now with 100% chicken, and it's like, what was I eating before?
Yeah, that is the big question. I'm a big fan because they've just made the McPlant, which is a lovely plant-based burger, which it means I can tuck
Have you
in.
Tried it? Yeah, is it out yet?
Delicious.
Is it good? Is it? I actually really like a plant-based burger, so I'll probably give it a go. Is it Beyond? Is it Beyond? Is it or?
Don't know. It's their own thing. Might be with Beyond. I'm not just saying. I'm not just saying this. I genuinely think you wouldn't taste the difference if you weren't told and they didn't put the vegan cheese. The vegan cheese kind of gives it away because there's always a bit of a fake cheesiness to it. But if they swapped fake meat patties with meat patties, you wouldn't notice and you'd feel lighter because they're not as heavy.
I think I would probably agree with that. The vegan cheese would do it for me 100%. But I think if you was to give, I probably wouldn't know if I had a blindfold on. I've had a lot of Big Macs, so I could definitely tell if it wasn't a Big Mac.
Genuinely thought you were about to say that. I've had a lot of blindfolds.
I've had a lot of blindfolds. But yeah, so what I found quite interesting though was when fast food met drive-thrus, that kind of concept of driving through and ordering your fast food, and how that happened. So the first drive-thru created was Red's Giant Hamburger down home joint along Route 66 in Springfield, Missouri, and that opened in 1947.
I mean, that's early.
That is early, yeah. Like fast food was kind of on the map, but it wasn't as big as it is now. So drive-thrus kind of happened, the idea of taking food through a drive-thru. But I imagine this back in 1947 as being the longest wait of your life. I can't imagine they were banging out chicken nugs in about 4 seconds flat. Do you reckon you're ordering like a beef pie with some peas and you're waiting a good 20 minutes until you get it?
Yeah, I can imagine it's not quite as fast as it is now.
Hello, mate. Just wait around the corner for me, mate.
But sitting in waiting in a car back then would be a lot more romantic. You got your girl by your side.
And I guess at that point you had, or actually, to be fair, not by that point, but you had, drive-in theatres and stuff, and that always just looks so much better back in sort of like the 50s and the 60s.
Especially when it's like the films where they've got the drop-top caddies and they're driving along, and it's really, really good. But yeah, so the drive-thru was actually created off the back of a gas station. Owner Sheldon Red Cheney, his name was, decided probably be a good time to do this cool new thing, which is a restaurant within the gas station where you can order some restaurant food and off you pop. And that was the drive-thru. And then obviously fast food over the years developed the idea of drive-thru, and that's where we are today, which is just.
And now you get drive-thru anything. You get drive-thru banks in America nowadays.
Drive-thru banks, yeah. But fast food, big industry. Pose another question to you. 2018, Dan, what do you reckon the fast food industry was worth? Go on.
How am I meant to know this?
Globally. Rough guess.
Go on, Dan, give a guess. Give a guess on a topic that you have absolutely no idea and have been given no steer on. Go on, Dan, give a guess.
I don't know. 300 billion pounds.
Wow. Good guess.
301.
Yeah.
570 billion. Yeah.
Oh, Dan, you were so far away. How could you be so far away on a topic that you know so little about?
I was almost 300 billion away.
Almost, yeah.
So that's what we've learned. That's what you've learned. Any other like tidbits of the history? We know the first one was on Route 66. We know that it started with fish and chips. We know White Castle did fast food. What else? What are the big things you've learned that you can summarise in the history of fast food?
The biggest thing was the moment that McDonald's broke onto the scene. That was the biggest movement, really. It was the idea that they were able to, because fast food now, the actual definition of it is the idea of not cooking food fresh as such. It's food that is ready. You get it quick. That's the idea. And McDonald's were the first company, probably still the best at it, where they can do that in such a fast, high capacity of delivery.
When does the Colonel, with his 11 herbs and spices, enter the fray? Do you know?
What, KFC? No idea. I don't eat KFC.
Great, okay.
Great, therefore.
I don't
Do you
eat
eat White
it.
Castle?
I don't eat KFC. It's bad for the IBS.
Yeah, but have you eaten White Castle?
White Castle, yeah, been there a few times, yeah.
You've been to Cannes?
Been to Cannes, yeah.
My biggest highlight in the history of fast food was in the early noughties when McDonald's tried to do a hot dog. Do you remember this?
Yes,
Hot
I do.
diggity, dog diggity, what you do to me. It's so new to me. What you do to me.
Mark, can I just...
I feel like this is not the first time that's happened.
We can't have any more music guests on, because this is what happens.
This happens.
Dan thinks he's a
You get all up in your head. Ty was on this week, and now look at you.
Yeah. Do you know one thing that does really frustrate me about McDonald's, though? Really bugs me. Mark, you're probably more on this because Dan doesn't eat meat.
Sure.
When they do the special stuff, so like the spicy nuggs or the mini Big Mac or the McSpicy, tastes incredible, really good, disappears.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
point.
well, that's the whole point.
But
of
it's
it.
frustrating because it's better than the actual
No,
fucking
because
menu.
then when it comes back, you're like, oh, it's
doesn't
back. This is brilliant.
It doesn't come back.
It's like, why would you do the Monopoly game all year round?
It doesn't come
You've
back.
got to get some excitement. You've got to get people in there, Connor. It's all about marketing. It's about business.
Here's a question for you that you won't know anything about, Connor.
Okay.
What percentage of McDonald's ice cream machines are broken in New York City right now?
Probably about 40%.
I would say it's about 80.
28.57% are broken.
Wow.
I feel like it's more. Anytime I go into McDonald's, milkshake machine's broken.
I think that's a cop-out. I've always said it.
Yeah.
I reckon half the time it ain't even broken.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Well, there's a reason they're always broken in hot weathers because they can't be asked to make the McFlurries. What else we got? 10% of McFlurry machines around the world are currently broken. If you want to find out more, it's McBroken.com.
McBroken.com. Okay. Little one for you as well. Did you know that when you go through the drive-thru at McDonald's, you can actually ask for a recipe book?
You have to pay for it, surely.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Just in case you really want those chicken katsu nuggs. Make them
Yeah.
at home.
I mean, I don't really understand what the recipe is for making a nugget, isn't it? Just
So you can have chicken. You can have the chicken nugs from McDonald's, but you can't have the Colonel's 11 herbs and spices on his chicken.
yeah, I just don't really eat KFC.
Well, apparently
I don't
so.
really eat Burger King either.
No.
No, I'm a McShack guy.
Golden arches only.
Yeah, McGangbang all the way.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, McGangbang. Yeah,
Why is that called that?
double cheeseburger. Open it up.
Secret menu.
Put a mayo chicken in it. Close it. Calories through the roof.
It always annoyed me when they said the secret menu, like it was something McDonald's knew. It was like, no, it's just people are doing this. It's not a secret menu.
And it's not even like it's, oh my God, we'll make this thing that's entirely bespoke for you. It's like, no, you're just going to take two menus, two items on the menu.
Do you think though
and
it's
put
good?
them together.
It is good they've created the vegan, but they're very behind on that, aren't they? Pretty much most companies now.
I'm with you.
Like
They took a long time, and they were giving us the rubbish veggie wrap, which was awful. Even KFC, the home of slaughter, that did it first.
yeah, no, I
Those are
agree.
Dan's views and not those of the podcast.
Yeah. There we go. The history of fast food. You're very welcome. Next week,
I think
shoelaces.
I think history. I think history's a loose term.
I think history is whatever it feels to the person.
Some history of fast food.
You asked me to talk about, the kings and how that happens over the years. Couldn't really give much of a shit. Chicken nuggs, how they were created, purchasing food through a window. You're in my world there.
Give a shit about that. If you're having KFC, giving many shits about that.
Yeah, it really tickles. It really, really tickles the belly.
info@baffledpod.com is the place you need to go if you would like to suggest something, and the bar is clearly set quite low.
Yeah, can I just say as well, sorry to interrupt, Dan, this is just a second episode. Just for people, I do worry sometimes that people come along to this second episode, hear me rambling on about the history of fast food and think, is this it every week? It's like, no, this is just the added episode.
Sadly, the added episodes are like this every week.
Yeah.
info@baffledpod.com, that's where you need to go. We're in the middle, slap bang in the middle of our guest fest. If you missed it, make sure you catch up with Ty Verdes. He was on earlier this week. We've got Sonny J from Capital. He won Dancing on Ice. What a random thing. He's on as well. And yeah, loads more coming your way for the month of November. Give us a follow on our TikTok and our socials. We are at BaffledPod on all of those. And we'll see you Tuesday with a brand new guest for you. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 more facts. Until then, bye-bye.